Hello and welcome to Capacity TV. I'm joined today by Alberto Horcajo of Telxius. Welcome, Alberto. Can you tell us why Telxius was created last year out of Telefonica, and can you explain a little bit about the core business that Telxius has now?
As you just said, Telxius is a fairly recent company. We're a spin-off of Telefonica, holding telco infrastructure assets. We own a large portfolio of mobile towers in Europe and in Latin America, as well as submarine cable systems, mostly in the Americas and now coming to Europe.
So you're the infrastructure arm of Telefonica. Can you say a bit more about that, please?
Exactly. We're a neutral infrastructure provider. I want to emphasize that because although we are a proud affiliate of Telefonica, we also serve other companies that actually compete with Telefonica. Besides those, we also look after the interests of content providers in the submarine cable business, and we're very strongly positioned both in Latin America and in Europe to provide IP transit and capacity services.
Alberto, Telxius has got a huge tower portfolio. Can you tell us where they are and what they offer?
We own towers in Spain, in Germany, Brazil, Peru, and Chile. And we expect to be very soon present in Argentina as well. It is clearly a geography in which Telefonica has a strong position, and I think we complement well the needs and the expectations of Telefonica, but also of other customers of us. Europe, as you probably know, is a more mature market, one in which we're looking into the introduction of new technologies to further provide capacity and coverage and definitely help our customers to monetize the data plan offerings. Latin America, on the other hand, is a geography in which we can grow faster because there is a greater need to fulfill coverage requirements. So we're very pleased with this pretty balanced portfolio of towers that we own both in Europe and in Latin America.
So you're providing capacity for 2G, 3G, 4G networks, and so tell me a bit about the opportunities and the challenges of this market.
Exactly. We do provide the passive infrastructure needed to give adequate coverage for wireless services in any technology, and both for licensed and unlicensed frequencies.
And you share the towers between different operators, rival operators. Do they not have issues about that?
They compete in the market.
Yeah.
They often try to snatch customers from each other, but the truth is that this infrastructure serves the industry as a whole. And I think we need to be mindful of the fact that it's in everybody's interest to make sure that there's a decent return on so much capital being invested in the industry.
And they're very expensive to build. So is this a good way of sharing resources between different companies?
Well, I mean, think of the number of sites. We ourselves own roughly 16,000 sites. So we're not a very large tower provider. So we're talking about the need to have significant density, to have that capillarity, the new services demand these days, and thus you need to certainly deploy significant capital.
So as mobile technology develops, what's your strategy for providing more towers, denser towers, as we move on to new technology?
So we're seeing more what is called small cell, micro cells deployments. Masts will be less common in our landscapes, certainly across the geographies in which we're present. We're also looking into different opportunities to provide decent coverage indoors, which has been a traditional challenge for the wireless business as well, and certainly to be able for customers to watch their videos, be connected to their friends and relatives and so on and so forth in ways that just a few years ago were simply inimaginable.
And it makes sense to have a neutral provider that can provide the infrastructure for all the operators in a market. I guess that's the logic of Telxius, is it?
There is a certain resemblance with this concept of the sharing economy.
Yeah.
So it's not just for the consumers, but it's also for companies serving customers that in the end have to provide satisfaction to consumers that we share this infrastructure. It makes lots of economic sense, but it also ensures that we have a proper environment from all points of view.
Thank you very much for joining us today on Capacity TV.
Thank you very much for having me.